It's a Power Pack Thursday Hot Mic. Grant Nelson joins us and the possibility of being drafted tonight, plus more Bison Gray Easton stick in studio on heading the Atlanta Falcons. Hot Mic starts now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the Who's the Guy They Drafted edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL, good morning in Sioux Falls. KNBN in Rapid City. And Inforum.com. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to a power-packed edition of the show. It's a big day today, the 26th day of June. Happy birthday to my dad. It's a big one today. He turns 70 today. He's going to join us tomorrow. We'll let him have his day today. We'll roast him tomorrow on the show. Happy birthday, Pops. Hope you have a great day. And the Yanks lose. We have a lot to get to on our show today. I mentioned off our tease, we got two dynamite guests coming up. That's totally to disparage Sam, because Sam will be on the show as well. But Grant Nelson will join us from Devil's Lake coming up in our second hour. The second round of the NBA draft gets going later tonight. There is the outside chance, potential chance, that Grant could hear his name called during round two. Either way, he's getting a shot to play professional basketball sometime in the near future. And Easton Stick will also join us in studio. Had his third annual quarterback camp yesterday up at NDSU. They had about 40 quarterbacks here from all across the area, whether they were sophomores, juniors, seniors in high school. Had a few NFL guys there as well. Gray Zabel showed up yesterday. Cam Miller was there yesterday. So we'll visit with Easton about that. And, of course, his signing with the Atlanta Falcons. He just got married a few months ago, so a lot going on with QB1. He's still QB1 for a lot of people, and he'll join us in studio coming up later on in the show. We've got conference realignment news to chat about. Big shout-out to our guy, Colter Nuanez. He joined us on the show Monday. We were chatting about what could potentially be up with the Big Sky, and he nailed it, knocked it out of the park. I'm not sure if he had inside intel, but we now know what's happening there. The Summit League is left again holding the bag. The Summit League is still sitting there with nobody wants to come and play. Even with this new Missouri Valley Football Conference joint venture, which I thought may be appetizing, evidently not. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. We've also got scheduling news going on, so a lot to get to on this Thursday. But we'll start with the NBA draft last night, and we have grown accustomed over the last couple of years with Tim Connolly running the Timberwolves that we would have some drama, some movement, some excitement. And last night came and went, and the Wolves just made a pick. That's all that happened. And then they made a pick of a guy that, frankly, 99% of basketball fans that had probably had no idea who this guy is. Maybe he's the replacement for Rudy Gobert. We have no idea. His name, and it's not an easy one to pronounce, Yohan Baranje, is the newest Minnesota Timberwolf. He was selected last night with the 17th overall pick in the first round. He's 6'11". He played this past season in Slovenia. I know a lot of people are plugged into Slovenian basketball highlights on a nightly basis. The fact we could find Slovenian basketball highlights is impressive. That's him throwing it down. Averaged 5 points, 5 rebounds, couple of blocks, and 18 minutes per game for his team, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Cedevita Olimpia in Slovenia this past season, helping the team win the Slovenian Basketball Cup. During the regular season, he ranked second in the Adriatic League in blocks. He's a French native, competed for France at the 2023 FIBA U18 European Championships. He's one of 3 French players who have been drafted so far last night. Third consecutive year that at least 2 French players were selected in the first round of the NBA draft. Remember, Risache and, I'm going to forget the other guy. Last year in the draft went high a season ago. So, 6'11". You like the size. He can dunk, and he can block shots. This is a younger Rudy Gobert. And that's everything we had heard out of the Wolves. Matt Lloyd, who's their general manager, who spoke to the media late last night after the draft wrapped up. So he's the 3rd player in franchise history to be selected with the 17th overall pick. The last one was Rasho Nesterovic. He's going back a ways, 1998 with that pick. So no trade, no move up, no move back. Simple made a pick. And he will be here next season. He's not going to be stashed like Ricky Rubio was. And we saw him, whatever it was, 2 years later before Rubio came to the States. This guy's going to be on the roster. Now, there are younger players in front of him. It was also pointed out that now the Wolves have a young player either in a rookie or second or third year at each position, at point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and now with Beranger at center. So that was it. We were all excited. Here we go. Draft's going. Got first few picks off the board. Like, all right, Wolves going to do something, and they didn't. Now, it doesn't mean they're done. Remember, they have the 31st pick. The first pick of the second round belongs to Minnesota. So there could be some I would imagine there's going to be some wheeling and dealing tonight. Each of the previous 3 drafts for Conley since taking over the Wolves, he made trades. Conley's been a part of 7 3-team trades, 3 4-team trades, and even 1 deal involving 6 teams. So all we can do now is just watch YouTube highlights of this guy and wonder what happens with the roster, at least for a few more hours. As for the rest of the draft, the top pick we already knew was going to happen. Cooper Flagg was going to go number 1 overall, and he did, to Dallas. There was no drama there. There really wasn't any drama with the first few picks. Dylan Harper out of Rutgers went to the Spurs. VJ Edgecombe went to the 76ers at 3. Con Knippel went a little bit higher maybe than some thought, as he went to the Hornets at 4. Ace Bailey out of Rutgers at 5. How about Rutgers gets 2 out of the first 5 picks? He went to the Jazz. Trey Johnson to Washington at 6. Jeremiah Fears goes to the Pelicans at 7. One name that you should know, Cedric Coward at 11, went to Portland. He actually, and it says Washington State, which he played his last year at. He actually played his, prior to that, was at Eastern Washington. He played against the Bison a season and a half ago. So not the 24-25 season, the 23-24 year, and a game in Cheney that Eastern Washington beat the Bison, part of the Summit Big Sky Challenge. Had nearly a double-double in that one against NDSU. That's the one guy that we have seen up close, outside of the guys in the Big Ten that played the Gophers. And obviously we mentioned Walter Clayton Jr. went right after Beranger. He went to the Wizards. That was maybe a pick that potentially Wolves fans were hoping for. He went with the 18th overall selection. Back-to-back Illinois guys went 20 and 21. Will Riley goes to the Jazz. Asia Newell goes 23 overall from out of Georgia to the Pelicans. Danny Wolf was a mess when he got picked. He was maybe one of the last guys in the green room. Went 27 to Brooklyn. out of Michigan. He started his career at Yale. So that's the span of the first round. Plenty of comments last night about ESPN's presentation of it. We'll save that for a rainy day here in the summer about ESPN's NBA coverage because it lacked goodness, in my opinion. Just a lot of shouting, which we do plenty of that on this program, but I don't think people are tuning in for that. So that's what happened last night at Target Center. We will see if there's some movement. I tend to think so. There's some decisions that have to be made with this roster. But Beranger, Yohan Beranger, get to know it. 17th pick, first round NBA draft. Across the way, the Twins played last night with about 8,000 people in attendance. Going the wrong way. Lost 5 in a row. Lost 11-12. We've talked about it all week. Bottomed out. We're going to save more for Corey Provis tomorrow on the show before they get the first place Tigers in Detroit this weekend. They have one bright spot, and it was the guy who pitched last night. As when Joe Ryan throws, that's the one time a week to watch Minnesota Twins baseball. Because other than that, it's not pretty. And he was dealing last night. Got Julio Rodriguez, strikes out Cal Raleigh, which is way easier said than done these days, considering Raleigh might be the MVP of the American League. We had a pitcher's duel in front of 8 people last night. Had some defense as well. Christian Vasquez behind the plate with a dynamite throw. Nail the runner at second. They keep the Mariners off the base pass. They turned some defense here. A little 4-6-3 double play. We had a scoreless game going here through 5.5 innings. Like an old National League game. Willie Castro got the scoring started for Minnesota with a base hit. That would score Byron Buxton for the first run of the game to make it a 1-0 Twins lead in the 6th. They would add to it when Cody Clemens hits another home run, opposite field shot. That is 9th home run. No one thought this 9 home runs out of Cody Clemens for the Minnesota Twins? Question mark? Duran came in, shut the door here, got a nifty bounce in the 9th inning, and the Twins win a baseball game. Break them up. They snapped their 5-game skid with a 2-0 win. Ryan 6 innings and struck out 8. That's the kind of ball game you want to have. If you're going to snap a losing skid, that's what you want to do. He gets his 8th win of the season in the process. Just, it cures all when you have a pitching performance like that last night. Just wanted to see. I wanted to get the official attendance last night because the weather was fine. It wasn't like it was overly hot. We had, 15,850. There's no way there was that. We did the shots back in April when they were really scuffling, and they're not much better than that. We got a whole summer here to go, folks. What's the excitement with this baseball team? I'm not sure, but they won yesterday. They wrap up this 4-game set. We got a matinee coming up today. Emerson Hancock. That's a golfing name. Shouldn't be playing baseball. That's a golfer or tennis. Against Simeon Woods Richardson will be the starters today to wrap up that 4-game set at Target Field. First pitch just after noon going on down there. There's no easy way to segue here, but we have to because late yesterday afternoon, word started to get out on just an awful, awful story out of Brookings, South Dakota, and concerning the South Dakota State football team and one of its new transfer players that got there in January, running back Nate White, who found out passed away yesterday at 20 years old. And the circumstances of his death we do not know yet. It's just no other way to put it but tragic. He transferred to SDSU from Wisconsin in December, and you see some of his video, and our friends at Dakota News Now helped us out with this video from spring football. And our colleague Matt Zimmer wrote yesterday that he was set to be probably the Jacks' feature running back for this upcoming fall season. He was a 3-star recruit out of Rufus King High in Milwaukee and spent the last 2 years with Wisconsin and had 3 years of eligibility coming for SDSU. Head football coach Dan Jackson said in a statement yesterday, "Jackrabbit football is a brotherhood, and today we're all hurting with the shocking news of the loss of Nate White. Nate impacted our program with his hard work, determination, and overall positive spirit. We grieve with his family and will honor his memory throughout the upcoming season." SDSU President Barry Dunn had a statement as well, saying the South Dakota State University community is deeply saddened by the news of Nate White's passing. While Nate had not been on campus long, he was not only beloved by his teammates and coaches, but also by faculty and those who had the opportunity to get to know him. This is certainly a sad time for our campus, community, and the thousands of Jackrabbit supporters across the state and nation. Our hearts and prayers are with Nate's family, loved ones, teammates, and anyone who knew him. Just horrible, tragic. Any other word doesn't do it justice of what took place. And it was heartening to see the amount of outpouring that came from other schools that are hardened rivals. North Dakota State, South Dakota, North Dakota, Illinois State, that sent words out, posted words on social media yesterday of condolences of what happened. And you take out anything, the football stuff is irrelevant. That 20 years old, that part just, it's hard to fathom, it's hard to understand, it's hard to comprehend, and you just feel for his family, his friends, obviously his teammates, anyone that knew him. That's hard to deal with. Loss at any time, especially young, is really hard. And our thoughts are going to everybody in the Brookings community today. I know folks in Madison sent words out yesterday as well after him spending a couple years with the Badgers before coming to SDSU. Were struck by this, and you pray for his family, you pray for his friends that they can get through this, because this is a really, really tough deal. Just shocking. Saw it yesterday. I had to read it twice. Like, what? Knowing the potential, and again, the football stuff is irrelevant, but he had a chance to be maybe a really, really good player at SDSU, and that's not going to happen. And it's just really, really sad. I wanted to make sure. I know we have a ton of viewers down in Brookings and in Sioux Falls that watch our program, and thinking of them today, because this is really, really tough. No easy way to segue for our show, but we'll try and do that. Our guest lineup today, which is always brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. I mentioned we got a power pack lineup today. Sam will start us off at 9:35. We'll recap what we saw out on the golf course this past weekend. Rave reviews for Sam's performance. He did a great job at the Red River Am. We'll chat about that and a couple other topics coming up at 9:35. I mentioned Grant Nelson will join us at 10 o'clock. Devils Lake native, former Bison standout in Alabama. Standout 3 years in Fargo, the last 2 in Tuscaloosa. Now what's ahead? We'll chat with Grant about that coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:30, we'll welcome back to the show. We've made a habit the last couple of years he's been in with us in studio. We'll do it again with former Bison great, the all-time wins leader in FCS history. Easton Stick will join us on his camp, wrapping up yesterday, and set to begin, believe this, folks, his 7th year in the National Football League. First with the Atlanta Falcons, signed there, as we know, during free agency. Falcons QB room consists of Michael Penix Jr., one Kirk Cousins, and Easton Stick. We'll chat about that and a bunch of other stuff coming up before we wrap up the show. So a lot to get to today. We'll take our first break. We come back. The Big Sky is even bigger, and they're going back to Utah. We'll chat about that and a heck of a lot more. Glad you're joining us on a Thursday Hot Mic, which returns after this. All right, welcome back, everybody, here on a busy Thursday morning. Just a handful of days away from July 1, which, as we know, those that watch the show and devote yourselves to it, which we appreciate that, July 1 is the start of a new fiscal year for college athletics. So if you're going to make any sort of league move, if you're going to switch conferences, you got to get it done. That's why the House settlement, we need a decision, which I would anticipate. I'm going on vacation next week, going back to New York. I would anticipate Monday, which is that's June 30th, correct? That's the day we're going to hear from everybody about what they're doing right before July 1. Would be perfect for Sam to dissect everything on that. Also, it means if you're moving, if you're going to a new league or trying to figure out your conference home, you got to do it in the next handful of days. So we knew something was percolating with the WAC and the United Athletic Conference with the news with Utah Valley gone, Cal Baptist gone, Sac State had left the Big Sky. Well, now we know. Because yesterday, Matt Brown, who we've had on the show from the Extra Points newsletter, broke the story that Southern Utah and Utah Tech are leaving the WAC and going to the Big Sky. Southern Utah returning to the Big Sky and Utah Tech being added. And we just discussed this with Colton Nuanez on Monday's show about what the Big Sky would do. Well, here you go. They took a big swing and added 2 full-time members. So the league now expands the way it does out to 11 full-time members and now 13 football schools. This is the full-time members because remember, Cal Davis and Cal Poly are also part of the league, but just as football members. These are the full members in the league. With Northern Colorado. Gosh, that makes more sense for the Summit League now, but I'll digress. The Montanas, the 2 Idahos, Eastern Washington, Portland State, Northern Arizona, and you've got the 3 now Utah schools with Weber State, Southern Utah, who left the league and burned every bridge possible when they left, and the Big Sky basically kicked them out too because they weren't any good, and now they're back, so you can go back again, and Utah Tech. That's the arrangement there. But we're not done because we knew, and we talked about it when the partnership came about with the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Summit League, was that the 3 Texas schools that make up that league in the United Athletic Conference, and I know it gets confusing, but UT Arlington, who does not sponsor football, Abilene Christian, who we saw up here a season ago, and Tarleton State, who went to Vermilion, were also looking for a new place to play simply because their conference was folding. And as the story came out yesterday, they're not coming to the Missouri Valley like we thought. They're going to get their own conference and join up with the remaining schools there in the UAC. Because now we know Utah Tech is gone and Southern Utah is gone. So Abilene, Tarleton, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas, Austin Peay, North Alabama, West Georgia are going to stay together. It's just, maybe I was pie in the sky. I was hoping for this to happen for the Summit League because I was hoping the league could now be in a position. It may not be done. It's June 26th, but these are all for next year. For July 1 of 2026, this is when it all becomes effective. And we're not done. There's going to be other movement afoot, but that's the biggest here that affects the mid-major level. How it affects the Summit League, and I got an email yesterday, and I'll read it on the air briefly here because I think it nails it out of the park. So the Summit League gets no one. Summit League is in a tenuous position as it has limited possible additions and good possibility of a couple of departures. Management changes with Football League could not have come at a worse time. Hard to argue that. They believe they can still make a move, but who are you going to go get? I have always been a fan of Northern Colorado. Maybe I'm crazy on that, but you saw them on the Big Sky map. Northern Colorado is already an affiliate member in a handful of Summit League sports, namely baseball is one of them. I believe golf is another. Go get them. You got to get to an even number somehow in basketball. You just got to. And now, obviously, if you do that, they're automatically joined to the Missouri Valley Football Conference, which I know is not any great shakes because UNC football is bad and have been bad. But you got to do something here. To the emailer's point, with the risk of losing, I mean, we've all talked about St. Thomas. Omaha's been courted. I think you want to help out those other schools in the bottom part of the league. You want to help out Oral Roberts. You want to help out Kansas City. You want to help out Denver. You certainly can help out Denver by getting UNC in the league, although I'm not sure if how they'd feel about it. This is from Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports, who does a great job covering all of this stuff. The departure of the Utah schools, in addition of 5 ASUN schools, brings the United Athletic Conference in 2026 to 8 members, 7 of them playing football, as we mentioned. Tarleton, Abilene, Arlington doesn't, Eastern Kentucky, North Alabama, Austin Peay, Central Arkansas, and West Georgia. The Atlantic Sun will be left with 7 more like-minded basketball-centric schools. That's Bellarmine, Lipscomb, they're the Bisons, Queens University, which now is a Division I school, Jacksonville, not Jacksonville State, Jacksonville, North Florida, Stetson, and Florida Gulf Coast. Those 2 leagues will remain separate, so the UAC's keeping its automatic bid, which is big for the FCS playoffs. They'll work together to leverage their collective assets, such as a unified media package and a built-in scheduling agreement. These moves from these conferences speak to the evolution of Division I under the House settlement, as leagues, unlike at the FBS level, it seems, are attempting to form more like-minded and sport-specific groupings. I mean, I don't know where you go. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more when Sam comes on in a minute, because we'll get the Summit map up. I don't know what else they do. I was really hopeful they were going to make a play for the Texas schools, but it appears that maybe never got off the ground. And so, who knows? Maybe there's something cooking I don't know about. Typically there is. These kind of conversations are going on, but as we stand now, Summit is still sitting at 9. Missouri Valley Football Conference still sitting at 10 come next Tuesday when Missouri State leaves for Conference USA. We're overdue for a break. We come back. Our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us. We'll chat about this, a couple other topics as well on a busy Thursday morning edition of Hot Mike. We're back on WDAY Extra in just a couple minutes.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like west. I
Yes,
shouldn't say
west.
right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That
It's
is
underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Way to go.
Oh, I'm getting good at this.
He's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula.
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
Here he is, the leader in Johan Beranger leader.
Oh?
Sam Goetzinger joins
What?
us. You're not familiar with him?
It wasn't until 9 o'clock this morning that you said his name.
Yes.
That was the first time I've heard that. Who's that guy?
Not a guy that you're not a great Johan Beranger mind.
Not a Slovenian basketball mind.
There's so few of us out there.
You know, I could see that. I knew you were plugged into that scene.
I have so many sports packages.
I'm more in the Croatia basketball world. Okay,
right.
I'm not Slovenia.
So the fact that you knew Slovenia and Croatia are by one another makes my heart swell for your geography challenge mind.
I just threw out a country. I didn't even know they were close to each other.
Yes, the former Yugoslav republics. Yes.
That's a win in my book for today.
You're good. You can see you later. You get out of here, man. You're out.
I'm out of here.
Leave on a high note. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Did you watch the draft last night?
Not a second. Not a second of it. I saw the notification for Cooper Flag. We knew that was going to happen for a year.
Yep.
I knew Con Knippel was in the mix somewhere.
Yeah.
And
he went to Charlotte with the 4th pick.
I knew Rutgers had a couple of guys,
They did?
even though.
So look at this. You know what you're talking
I
about.
I know Rutgers. They got good individual players. They weren't good as a team.
They were
weren't
very
they?
bad. Yes, they were
Yeah,
the 500.
what was that
they
all
barely
about?
made. Yeah, well, that's question for each of those guys. Like, how can you have 2 lottery picks
and
barely make the Big Ten tournament?
Exactly.
Like, that's not
exactly.
That's not making your other players,
Right.
your other teammates better. No.
Besides that, I'd never heard of a single one of these players. Especially whatever the Timberwolves did. I don't know. That doesn't sound like a name that's going to be the face of the league, you know?
Well, you never know. I mean,
that would
you
be
have
something.
Have to wait a little bit
That would
before
be something.
This guy comes about. Now, tomorrow is the NHL draft.
Okay.
Are you plugged in on that?
See, my thing with the NHL and the MLB draft is that it's long, and these
7 rounds.
These guys are
baseball's 40 rounds,
Right,
so this
right.
is only 7.
These guys, you're not going to see them for a while, so it's a little harder for me to fully get invested.
Is that still the case? Because I know a couple of the top picks are in the NHL.
A couple,
over
yeah.
the last couple of years.
The
Sharks keep being terrible, and they get guys that are playing.
They
in the
get
NHL.
Celebrini
like
pretty
Celebrini
quick.
playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a more expedited process now, but it's still. I mean, they're still getting guys who got to go on to the college level, and then you'll see them in the AHL or the ECHL, and then you won't see them on national TV for 3-4 years.
Do you know who
was
was the number 1 pick in the NHL draft?
Oh, number 1 pick. Oh,
I didn't know. I had to look it up.
I heard that it's a college guy, right?
No, who has the team? I'm saying.
Oh, who's
drafting number 1?
Oh,
I didn't know. I had to look it up. I didn't pay attention to the draft lottery.
Ooh. Oh, I did. I can't remember. Oh, is it the Kings? No.
The Kings are hosting. The Islanders have the number 1 pick.
Okay, that's who it is.
Those Islanders, Sharks, Blackhawks, the Mammoth.
Okay, so they're 4.
And the
All
Predator.
right.
The Predators go 5.
The only person I really know that's in the draft is that Mason West from Edina, that dual sport athlete there. Besides that, I don't know, because there was Macklin Celebrini, and then the year before there was another big name that I'm blanking on.
Will Smith is the guy I remember who went up high, and he went to the Sharks as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was the same draft. Yeah, right?
They got, what are they doing with that talent? Got two young studs, and
Why
still
do the Wild
suck.
not have a first-round pick? What did they do? Because the Wild don't have a pick in the first round.
I couldn't
They
tell
must
you.
have,
I couldn't tell you. I'm sure
So,
they
there you go.
traded that away.
But that's going on tomorrow. That is in L.A. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock for the first round. I know Sam will be plugged in for that to give us the full
I will now.
debrief on that.
I will
Coming
now.
up,
We'll see what's going on.
next week. A couple things I want to get to. I don't know if I know you heard me lamenting about it yesterday when the news came out that the Big Sky went and added a couple of schools. They added the 2 Utah schools, which I was never a fan of the Summit League or the Missouri Valley getting Southern Utah Tech. I didn't want,
that seems
frankly, I
a
didn't
little-
want any part of it. I knew both teams frankly, have not been very good. I was all on board and wanting to get the Texas schools to come into the Missouri Valley Football
That would make a little
Conference
bit more
and the
sense.
Summit League.
Yep.
And that's not going to happen. So now, I don't know what the league is going to do. Our poll question is out now. You can vote at Hot Mike WDAY on what would you like the Summit League to do now after the Utah schools are gone and the Texas schools have found other homes. You can vote it. We can put it up on our screen here in a minute on options out there. They can stand pat with the 9 schools they have, which I don't think is a great idea because I think the Vultures might be out for St. Thomas eventually.
Yep.
Or Omaha. They could add Northern Colorado, who's sitting out there on the fringe of the Big Sky. Granted, UNC is no great shakes in many sports.
Right.
Or other I don't know other options out there.
What else is there besides 1 and 2 there?
I mean, there are some Division II school, but they've already been down that road. They're not interested in Augustana.
I was going to say Augustana would be the closest Division II,
they're
right?
not going to go down that road. The Minnesota schools have been bandied about, like a Mankato, but they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that,
Mankato's not
right?
going to do that.
It's kind of all or nothing with
No,
all of them
correct.
in the Minshew system,
Correct.
isn't it? Yeah, I mean, really, your only bet is Northern Colorado, isn't it?
At least geographically wise, unless there's some other Division II, like Northwest Missouri State, I've always been on board with as well. I don't know financially if they have the resources.
That would be a good one.
To go, because Northwest Mo is good in football.
They would
really
compete.
good in basketball.
They would compete. Geographically speaking, does where they're located even matter anymore?
I think it
matters
does.
more in the FCS than it does in the FBS.
Yeah, I think in the mid-major level it does.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well,
especially now.
I mean, yeah. What?
There's no one else out there.
What? Because the Idahos are probably pretty stand-packed.
Yeah, they're
right?
not. They're not going anywhere.
They're not.
No.
I mean,
I don't know.
you're kind of stuck there, and then St. Thomas is going to be out the door pretty soon.
That's the hot rumor. That's the hot rumor has been going for a couple years. Is that the way their trajectory now with a brand new $50 million, $60 million arena set to open in October, that they're not going to be in the Summit League that much longer.
They are on the fast track to moving up to major college athletics. I feel like because they're already dominating the Summit League. I mean, their football's a step behind. I think that's fair to say.
And they're not, and they're fine with that. I think they're going to hitch their wagon to men's basketball, women's basketball, and if hockey ends up being pretty good, they're going to be they're going to be okay with that.
They're in a dynamite recruiting area, and if they get there, they've recruited really well with the bad hockey facilities they've had right now.
That's also a hockey rink. It's a basketball/hockey facility that they're
kind
opening
of like
here.
a Kohl Center at the University of Wisconsin, something like that. I think they're going to be just fine if they choose to stick to those sports. As for the Summit League, Northern Colorado's your best bet.
And I don't know how great that appealing is to some of the other schools in the league.
I mean, what is Northern Colorado known for, right? They got good baseball.
I mean, this is 30 years ago they were good at football. That was in the Division II days.
Right.
In Division I, they've been terrible. They've been terrible in Division I football.
So if Northern Colorado moves to the Summit League and with all the changes in that would mean they have the fast track to the Missouri Valley.
They would automatically have an invite to the Missouri Valley Football Conference. That's how it works now.
How appealing is that? Yeah. For a fan. Yeah.
Not.
Yep.
I would say for older Bison fans and Jackrabbit fans, like this is the North Central Conference, even more so because UNC was in that league when they were all in Division II.
I forgot about the North Central.
They were all together at one time. It was the Four Dakota schools, Omaha. Hello, they're in.
Yep.
When they used to have football, and obviously they're in the Summit now. Northern Colorado. This is what are we doing? That's why I'm disheartened by the. Maybe I was pie in the sky thoughts about them potentially adding because we saw Abilene up close.
Right, that was fun.
Good.
That was fun. That would be fun to get them a Tarleton,
right?
Something
Tarleton
like that.
Scared the heck out of South Dakota.
That's not in the cards anymore, I guess.
I mean, Tarleton has these FBS grandeur dreams, and they may happen. Who knows? But
at
least
doesn't. Yeah.
But at least for the time being, that they could have.
So where are they off to then?
They're in the UAC.
Oh, that's
the
right.
United Athletic Conference.
That's right.
So,
Okay. Well.
well,
I'm curious what the other options may be, but I don't see any out of it.
Unless there's some Division II I'm not thinking of that's in the area. There's not
really. You got Augustana. You got none of the Minnesota schools because those are locked together. No. I think Northwest Missouri would be a good one, but there's really none in Iowa.
No.
Upper Iowa, and that's no.
Nope. Upper Iowa just left the Northern Sun to go to the Great Lakes because the Northern Sun was, I think, in my estimation, too competitive for them.
Oh, it definitely was.
They were not.
It definitely was.
They weren't. They were really good. They had 1 year in men's basketball where they were okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I can't remember anything where Upper Iowa was good in.
They were definitely not good when I was at St. Cloud. I can tell you that because they were already playing soccer in the Great Lakes, so it makes sense to just put everything
over there.
Besides that, I mean, really,
I don't know.
There's none in Wisconsin. There's nothing. You got UJ, University of Jamestown. You can get them on the fast track up.
Let's. We'll get a couple emails. We'll read them after the break. Have you been to the state of Utah before?
No.
Well,
no.
Potentially, if you stick around for a little bit,
go to Ogden.
You could have that.
I hear it's beautiful this time of year.
The Bison and Weber State announced yesterday a scheduling agreement that NDSU will go to Ogden in September of 2029.
Yeah, that's a ways away.
It is a long ways away. The Bison will host the Wildcats in 2027. The teams last played a home-and-home in 2014 and 2015. The Bison went there, and the neat story about that back in 2014 is that College Game Day had announced that day that if the Bison win the game in Ogden, that they would come play the game yet, and that was Chris Kleiman hadn't even coached a home game yet. That was on the table. The Bison had to go and beat the Wildcats, which it was a struggle, but they did, and obviously Game Day came back a second time. Trying to get teams is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So Todd Phelps got this one done. So NDSU now has 2 games lined up for the 2027 season. The Citadel will come back that year because we're going to Charleston this year, and now they have Weber State on. Also yesterday, people didn't see that the 12 games got signed off on starting next season. So NDSU now has to find a game to start next year if they want. They don't have to.
Right.
I have a feeling that they're going to put a full court prep. Polasek told me, he sat here and told me, and I didn't even know it was a thing when he was here, I think in March, that they're going to start fall camp, Sam, probably like July 20th next year.
Oh, really?
Because now the season has started up earlier, that they don't want to have 6 weeks of camp and then not play a game that first week. So they're going to do everything they can to play that first game.
That scheduling, I tip a cap to all the people that handle scheduling college football and looking so far ahead. Weber State, I think it's a good destination spot for fans.
Ogden's awesome.
I don't know how much of a competitive game it's going to be, but
who knows? Who
knows?
I will say this: going out there in 2014 is beautiful. It was a night game.
I'm looking forward to that.
Right in the shadow of the mountain. It's fantastic. Stewart Stadium is really, really cool. So,
did they have any renovations since the last time they were there, or what we saw on video there is what we can expect?
I think that's probably pretty close. They may have got new turf since then, and I would believe they probably would. That's 10 years ago now since that game was out there, and they've been fairly good. They made the semifinals a handful of years ago, lost to James Madison. They've missed out on the playoffs the last handful of years, and the Big Sky has gotten top-heavy. But there you go. So a couple of games for football are lined up. Let's break. I want to talk some golf. We got rave reviews from you, from your golf voice.
That's good to hear.
That came in over the weekend. We'll do that on the other side of the break as we wrap up hour one. Grant Nelson coming up in about 15 minutes as well. Back on Hot Mic right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Just a couple minutes left with Sam. Grant Nelson is going to join us in just a few minutes on the second round of the NBA draft tonight. How he's spending that up in Devil's Lake. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Okay, we got a bunch of emails to read that I'll want to get to in a second. Dom and Sam, I agree. Northern Colorado would solve some problems. What about Augustana going D1? Is that totally out of the question since they started Division I hockey? I think it is. That's the closest outside of Northern Colorado. Yeah. Your other options category on the poll question, that's the closest, but that likelihood's not there. I think the ship has sailed there. They did their due diligence on Augustana. I don't think South Dakota State was too fond of it either, knowing they're in Sioux Falls, and the Jacks kind of got the hammerlock in Sioux Falls. USD does too a little bit, but it's funny, though. You go to the Summit League basketball tournament, which is held in Sioux Falls at the Premier Center. There's Augustana stuff everywhere. Oh, yeah. Everywhere
it's
there.
a big university.
You've been down there
it's a big university. It would do just fine at the mid-major level, but I think we're past that point for the Summit League. Do you think that you got to find for football, and then football would go into the Missouri Valley Football Conference now with they got
this
a
new
good
agreement.
Football team, but you got to add Division II level.
Add 30, at least 30 scholarships now. I don't know. They have that kind of because hockey is such a drain financially. Yeah, good point. Good point. Right? When you go down that road and then you say, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you got to add at least 30 scholarships because if you're at, let's just say Division II, you're at 32 for football. You got to go to 63. Right. And then you got to add the requisite amount for women's sports. Good point. I know Augustana's got some cash. That's a lot of money. That's a lot, especially for a school that's at Division II right now. I think from a competition level, though, I think they could compete. Baseball is always very good. Basketball is always very good. Football is good at the Division II level. I don't think they would make a quick climb. And hockey, they've been great. Hockey's been good. Yeah. Hockey's been good. I think competitive-wise, they would be a good fit. Logistically, it wouldn't work. I won't argue that, but I think the financial part of it seems like too big of a hurdle for them. Dom and Sam, how many times does NDSU have to get passed over before you remember the fact that how good a program is in any individual sport is nowhere near the primary driver of conference membership decisions? Absolutely right. These are president decisions that are based most of the time on financial reasons and nothing to do with how good Bison football is or anything else like that. There is so many outside factors, and talk about markets as well. We had a conversation about that pretty much all last week. That plays a big role into everything. Another email comes in. Dom, read this last paragraph from Matt Brown's Extra Point newsletter. It says, bye-bye, Oral Roberts. The last paragraph goes, multiple industry sources with direct knowledge of both conferences' thinking told me on Wednesday that the UAC and the Atlantic Sun are expected to look at adding additional members in the near future. I mean, Oral Roberts has already left and come back. Oral
Yep.
Roberts tried the Southland and it did not work. I think they're okay. They have to make up their minds too with the House settlement now decided how they're going to spend their money. They don't have
Right.
football, obviously. So if they're going to put all their eggs in baseball and men's basketball, how does that affect the rest of their sports?
That's fair.
Track.
That's fair.
They're bad
Yeah.
at track. They're okay at golf. Like they're just I would be surprised. Let's just say that.
They won the Summit League, didn't they?
In golf, they
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
but funding for that is
Yeah.
not necessarily what.
Absolutely.
Like soccer,
Yep.
they're not great in that. Like those are their two bread and butters
Yep.
are, and I don't know how good they're going to be in either one this year.
Yeah.
Granted, neither one
Tale
won
of
the
2
tournament
years.
this year.
Right.
Men's basketball has been bad the last 2 years. Baseball, the Bison beat them to go to the NCAA tournament. All right, I got to make sure we get this in before we break. First off, in all sincerity, awesome job on golf this weekend.
Thank
I
you.
know you were super excited.
I was.
You knocked it out of the park.
I appreciate that.
Your reporting on the course was fantastic.
I appreciate
it. It was
that.
in depth. It was everything that our viewers were looking for. The golf voice you got down.
That was
because I know
such
how
a-
loud you talk loud. You got it perfect.
Well, I was going into it thinking the golf voice, that's not a thing. I can talk loud enough and be just fine. And then I realized I'm 5 feet away
Right.
from these guys while they're hitting huge shots. I gotta whisper. I think I was a little too quiet at times. But
I did not think
you
so.
didn't think so?
No.
Okay, I'll take that.
Because I know exactly where you were.
Yeah.
I mean, so if
I
you
was
go
gonna-
back and you watch like Roger Maltby on NBC, and he's like, "All right, Johnny, we're over at the 18th.
Yep.
He's got about 6.5 feet." You did that. It was perfect.
I was like,
it was great.
I'm gonna be far enough away they won't hear me. And then I realized how close I am, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be really
to that
quiet.
point, when I was doing hot mic on Friday, and there were people teeing off,
Yeah.
and I'm, hello,
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple people just whip their head like, "Who is this guy?"
There was
Hello, I'm
there
trying
was
to
a
hit.
couple before or even after a putt when this is going to break left to right, and I hope this is right because if they hear me, I don't know if they're going to use this or not as a second read or something. I was a little nervous about that, but I got a couple of looks in there too. But that was awesome. It was kind of a full circle moment for me. When I was in high school, me and my high school buddies, we would play golf in one of my friend's basement, and I would pretend to commentate that
that's
for
awesome.
a while. And so they were all loving it, the fact that I was doing that and seeing where it's at now. But golf is one of, if not my favorite sport. So that was a lot of
awesome.
fun to do that.
Probably, how many shirts did you go through over the weekend?
Oh,
I went through 4.
I went through 3. Went through 3. Kyle and I only had a couple of arguments about the lack of water in our cart, and that I kept drinking all of them.
So Strecker, Kyle looked at me after we were done Sunday, the award set presentation. He looked at me and just went,
Well,
like,
and that's the thing too. I give props to Strecker, Brody, who's back there pushing the buttons.
Looks good killed.
They're holding a 30-pound camera
Yeah,
for 10
no
minutes
doubt.
straight too while
No
these guys
doubt.
are putting, and oh man.
they did awesome.
But it was warm. There was no doubt about that. It was warm. Really well-run tournament.
Yeah.
Really good skill level in that tournament
was
that
good,
was on
man.
display.
Yep.
It was impressive.
Rylan Petrie won, Catherine Van Aragon won on the women's side. But congrats on awesome job. I thought you killed it, and
I appreciate that.
That was a lot of fun. You're gonna be filling in for me next week,
Yeah,
so Godspeed on that.
Let's bear down.
We're into
What's
the time
going
of the
on next week?
If you want to do at least a day of hot dog competition, go for it.
Okay,
if you're
I
on the
suppose that's
Joey
right.
Chestnuts
That's right.
returning for
That's
the
right. We're gonna
hot
preview
dog
that. Yep.
competition. So
Okay.
I would wish you.
I'm going to call in my competitive eating minds and get them on the show here. What else? The Twins are playing.
Are they? Because
Are
they're not
they?
very good.
Who else is
I think,
around?
that's exactly why I'm taking vacation.
Is NASCAR going on?
Hey, you know what's also going to happen Monday? The House settlement's going to come to a decision. So there you go. I'm leaving you with that on Monday.
Leaving
So,
me with that,
yep.
and then hey, Colpat, what's going on? See if he can figure it out. Oh, man.
Have a great day, bud. Thanks for
I
coming by.
appreciate it.
Sam
Absolutely.
Goetzinger joining us each and every Thursday. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. The pride of Devil's Lake. Grant Nelson will join us on the second round of the NBA draft. And what's coming up tonight? That's coming up. We come back after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show in our second hour. Former Bison quarterback Easton Stick will show up and join us in about a half hour. We're going to chat about his quarterback camp yesterday and getting ready to go back for his 7th NFL season with the Atlanta Falcons. That's coming up later on in the show. But We have the second round of the NBA draft coming up tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Our next guest is hopeful that his phone is going to be blowing up. I think it will be one way or the other, that potentially he could be drafted one way or the other. He's going to be playing professional basketball next year. First time we had him on was 5 years ago after he was named Mr. Basketball in the state of North Dakota out of Devil's Lake. Grant Nelson is back with us on Hot Mic this morning. Great to see you, bud. Just tell me the emotions. Here it is this morning. What was it like to wake up today?
Man, it's definitely exciting. I mean, something I've been wanting to do my whole life. So, I mean, it's great that the day is finally here. And I mean, I think no matter what happens, like you said, I'll still be playing professional basketball, hopefully in the NBA. So, I mean, it's definitely exciting.
So, saying that sentence out loud, I'm going to be playing pro basketball one way or the other. 5 years ago, was that the dream? Was that even in the back of your mind that this could happen?
I mean, it definitely was. I don't know how much I believed in myself at that point, but I mean, I definitely knew I wanted to play professional basketball, and I mean that became more clear to me within like my first 2-3 years at North Dakota State.
So give us the lowdown on what your agent's telling you about tonight, what to expect, what could potentially go on as the night goes on.
I mean, there's interest a lot like later in the second round. So I mean, it's looking like either second round, and then if it comes down to like a team that I don't really like feel like I'd fit best with that wants to draft me, I mean, I'll probably just pass up on that and then sign a two-way. Go undrafted, sign a two-way, and then like I kind of get to choose the position I get put in, and it's still like the same contract as if I did get drafted. So I mean, either way, it's like I'm not too stressed out or worried about it. Like I'm kind of like I already know like what I'm kind of getting into.
So to have that, is that how much weight is that off your shoulders? One way or the other, you know what's going to go down tonight.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a little bit of weight off my shoulders, but I mean everybody wants to hear their name being called, and like it's like a dream to like be called in the NBA draft. So I mean, it's definitely like I'm still a little bit nervous, like just to get that phone call and whatever. But either way, I'm fine with whatever happens.
Well, you saw last night, Grant, the emotion of guys getting picked. Just it's a whole journey, and I want to chat with that about you, knowing full well how things started in Devil's Lake. It's certainly been a team effort for you. Can you reflect on that about your entire family, your support system that got you to where you are tonight?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the whole state of North Dakota. I feel like they've had my back and they've done so much for me, which, I mean, I owe them the world for all the support they've given me. Devil's Lake, throughout high school, everything the town has given me, my parents, obviously, my family. I mean, I'm just so thankful for them and everything they've done.
You've been a busy man. We were visiting off air of how many different places and teams you've gone. Give us the lowdown of after the combine in May, what has life been like over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, I've worked out for 11 or 12 teams, and that was like within like 30 days. So it seemed like I'd go to a workout, or I'd get in at night. The next morning early, I'd go to the facility, be there all day, and then I'd have a flight to the next city. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot, and I'm glad it's over now, but definitely a lot of good experiences, and I feel like I learned a lot, and I did like work, like I feel like my game got better just like kind of learning how to play with different guys, and you know, just working on different skills and learning things from each team. So I mean, I think I definitely improved, but it was a good experience.
What's the workout consist of, Grant? For those that we don't know, are you going up against somebody, or are you by yourself? Can you give us the lowdown on that?
Yeah, it's usually 6 guys total. So like it'll be like I'll be matched up with like a big man or a 4-man.
Yep.
And then it'll consist a lot of 3-on-3. We'll do some 1-on-1 stuff, but pretty much everything we do is like live against each other, and it's all like documented of like wins and losses. So I mean, a lot of live stuff. Sometimes some teams will throw in like a couple of their video guys or like practice players, and we'll play like 5-on-5 full court. But I mean, a lot of it's just 3-on-3, and then some teams will do some conditioning at the end, which wasn't my favorite.
So you're like, are you doing running up and down laps kind of thing after you're done?
Yeah, it depends on the team. Some teams, yeah, it's crazy.
So they're grabbing guys like out of the stands to come play 5-on-5 at the end sometimes?
No, it's guys that like they do video for them and like practice players or have workouts. So I mean, they're definitely good basketball players.
Yeah.
A lot of them did play college basketball. So yeah.
Can you give us some of the teams you worked out for?
Phoenix, Lakers, Golden State, Houston Rockets, Denver, Memphis. Let me think. I mean, like I said, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
It kind of all blurs together.
Did you end up working out for the same team that you did a couple years ago when you went through the pre-draft process? Was there any familiarity there?
Yeah, I worked out for the Nuggets, and it was the exact same workout.
Okay.
I mean, just a little bit different competition. So it's like I think my matchup last time was more of like a 4-man. This time it was a 5-man.
How does that change when you know it's a traditional center as opposed to a 4 guy?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me that kind of like changes my mindset to like pull him out to the perimeter and like try to use my speed to my advantage and my handle. So, I mean, it's kind of like I'll go into each workout and my agent, he'll send me like a little scouting report of my matchup or everybody in the workout. And then a lot of these guys I already know because, I mean, I've played against probably like 15 different players from the SEC. So, I mean, it's a lot of guys I've already scouted throughout the years. So I knew a lot about them.
All right, let's talk about the last couple of years at Alabama and getting what you wanted out of going into the portal, knowing, okay, I've got to play some tougher, better competition. Give us the 2-year overview. Did you get out of that what you were hoping to the last couple of years in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I couldn't have asked for like a better league to be in, especially this last year. I mean, we were like one of the best conferences in all of college basketball history. So, I mean, I definitely got what I wanted. I mean, and then I can't complain about making a Final Four, then an Elite Eight. I mean, playing under Coach Oates was a lot of fun. I had a bunch of great teammates. But yeah, I couldn't have really asked for anything better.
Just the competition level, Grant, we see it on TV. You lived it. How much of a jump was it to see, okay, I'm going up against guys. You played against Cooper Flagg this past year. How is it A to Z? Is it like Earth to Mars? How different was the competition level?
I mean, I feel like I adjusted pretty well, or I thought I was, my first year. And then I kind of hit a stretch, like when we started SEC play, where it got a little tougher. Everybody was like crazy athletic. Seemed like everybody could guard, and I don't know. I kind of hit a little thing in the middle of the season last year, and then I mean I worked my way out of that, and I kind of got comfortable and like kind of realized I gotta like rely on my teammates, do things like get other people open, and that'll like ultimately help me get going.
How much of it you weren't not necessarily sneaking up on guys because maybe people didn't know you 2 years ago? That wasn't the case last year. People knew you, knew your game.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely helps like when people don't really know you, but I feel like coaches do such a good job like with their scouting reports. So like if the players like really lock in on the scouting report, like they're gonna really know like your tendencies and stuff like that. And they have like a system and a defense they've been working on since, I mean, I think college basketball teams started practicing like a couple weeks ago already. So it's like they've been working on that for so long. You kind of gotta like figure out new things as you go throughout the season.
The dunk on Donovan Clingan in the national championship game, where's that one ranked for you personally?
Man, that might be number one.
So you're taking off, he's a 7-foot guy. So give me the play-by-play. When you're taking off there, knowing what's in front of you, like this guy's not stopping me. Take us through that.
Well, I think it was just like the possession right before that, our offensive possession, we had an inbounds play and it was drawn up for me, and I like caught the ball and went up and tried to like lay up on him, and I thought I got fouled, but they didn't call it. So then I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna try to dunk it next time, and it turned out to be the next play. Like I came down in transition and just tried to dunk it. I didn't even touch the rim either. I kind of just like threw it in.
Your younger brother went viral for his reaction in the stands. You guys still joke about that, of how he went viral after that?
Yeah, he's going like this. Yeah. Yeah, I'll joke about him with that.
Oh man, that was something else. The time here, and I know there probably were, you were one of the first to really do this kind of jump, to leave NDSU to go to a Summit League school, a mid-major, and jump up to the SEC. Did you get any blowback here? Like, why he's quitting, he's leaving his teammates. Did you hear that when you decided to leave NDSU?
I mean, for the most part, no, but like, there's always those like older dudes, like some of my dad's old friends who they don't even know much about basketball, but they'll be saying things like, "Oh, this NIL nowadays, like it's bad for these kids," but like, I mean, I feel like they're just so stuck in like these old-fashioned ways that, I mean, yeah, it didn't affect me really at all. So I don't know.
Tell me about your 3 years at NDSU, of how that got you ready for Alabama and the SEC. You're getting your game developed here to become the kind of player you ended up becoming.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
Tell me about your time at NDSU, how that developed to get you to the player you ended up being at Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they got a great program for like dudes who are in my situation. Like I came in like 106 pounds, 6'10", so I was definitely like getting pushed around, all that stuff. So I mean, I feel like the program I had with Jason Miller in the weight room, where it's like you kind of lift like a football player for those first whatever couple of years. I feel like that helped me a lot, put on a lot of muscle, and then like mix that with Dave Richmond's like defensive minded like strategy going into it. I think that like kind of molded me into a player, like hardworking, tough, stuff like that. So I think that helped me move to the next level.
I still kind of shake my head that tweet that went out about you dunking on the Jacks and UND, did that really start everything? I still shake my head. That almost started everything, Grant, that got the pro ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was really like the first highlight reel I ever had made. And I mean, I think there was an account that just made a highlight reel, it was like a Pistons draft talk, scouting or some. Yeah, they posted something, and then I don't know, for the next like month, my phone was just blown up, and it was just crazy.
It's just it's so random out of the blue. And I remember talking with you and talking with your brother about like this is legit. This is a thing, and it just started just so quietly.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I got to ask about the shuttle run at the combine. Was that something you practiced for, or is that just natural athletic ability there?
I mean, I think I went through it like one time with my agency, and like I knew it was all just like if I got a good plant, like I'd do well. Because I mean, 2 years ago, or the first time I went to the combine, I was like third all time in the pro lane drill.
Yep.
So I knew like my lateral quickness was there. It's just like a matter. I didn't expect to break the record at all, but I mean, I guess I was feeling good that
So
day.
did you know it right away, or did somebody tell you that you broke the record?
No, it was the guys like that were using the stopwatches, like they all looked at each other, they're like, oh, like, and, like I thought I just had like the best of the day or whatever. But then like I saw some like my family group chat, someone sent something in, it's like unofficial time. Like if this is what it is, it's the record.
Couple minutes left here with Grant on this Thursday. Describe we were joking off air, the game in Grand Forks, to be able to come back and play. And I know it was a nail biter of a game. You guys end up winning, but what was that experience like to be back in Grand Forks and play earlier this year against UND?
Man, it was crazy. I mean, a lot of credit to that UND team. They fought hard, played a great game. I mean, it was definitely tough for us to stop some of their guys, Trace and Eagle staff. I mean, I feel like they put together like such a good game. But I mean, it was great just to play in front of like a lot of the people I played in front of at North Dakota State and in high school, and just seeing those people come out to the game and just show that support they've been showing me. So I mean, I'm really grateful for Coach Oates for doing that and scheduling that game. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people had a great time, and the game was great too.
How much were you being bugged for tickets about that? How early were you getting bugged for tickets about that last summer?
Man, as soon as the schedule came out, actually even before that, because my dad started like spreading the word as soon as like we have an assistant coach. He like puts he like negotiates the schedule, or I don't even know how it works, where like make deals. It's like 3-year deals or something. So as soon as he like texted me, like I told my parents, I was like, oh, we got a game in Grand Forks. And then my dad from there, he just started spreading the word, and tickets were gone within like a couple months.
A couple last things for you. The fact that there are so many now that you've come through, Trayson's come through, that the future of North Dakota basketball is pretty bright, Grant. Tell me about being at the forefront of that, and now a younger generation saying, yeah, I watched Grant in high school. I watched Grant at NDSU, and I think I can do that. What's that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think of it like I was watching guys like Anand Moody and like people like that when I was in high school, and like seeing how great of high school players they were, and they went on to have like really good college basketball careers. So, I mean, it's just like it's fun to be a part of that, and I mean, I'm super grateful for like all the support I have been getting, and every time I do come back to North Dakota, it seems like it's like nothing but love. So, I mean, I'm really grateful for that, and I appreciate everyone in North Dakota.
What's the plans for tonight, and what do you got going on once 7 o'clock rolls around?
Yeah, I'm headed to my aunt's house. I'm in Devil's Lake right now, so I'm just a couple of family members, got my girlfriend, a couple friends out here. So I mean, just gonna enjoy the night with them and hope to hear some good news.
And make sure nobody calls, right? You got to off the phone, right? Like, hey, nobody call me tonight, right?
Yeah.
It's great to see you, man. I really appreciate you doing this on draft day. Good luck. It's great to see you, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
There he goes. Grant Nelson, Devils Lake, North Dakota, Alabama, and North Dakota State standout that we'll see. Maybe later tonight he'll get his name called once the second round of the NBA draft begins, 7 o'clock on ESPN. As we mentioned off the top, one way or the other, he's playing pro basketball next year. He's gotten enough feedback. He's mentioned 11 teams he's worked out over the last month that something positive is going to happen tonight. And it started so innocuously. I'll never forget, we're doing a game in mid-January and January of 2023 that tweet came out, and McFeely and I were talking about it, and it was starting to get some legit buzz, and talking with Dave Richmond, and then lo and behold, Grant, the next home game, Eric can verify this, we had next to us at our broadcast spot, we had 2 scouts that were there. That never happened before, and we know the rest after that. And it's going to be awfully interesting to see what happens tonight. May not, and that's, I think, fair for people to remind themselves about. There are 59 total picks in the NBA draft. There's one team forfeited. I believe the Knicks did because the Knicks. So picks 31 through 59 tonight. And you heard Grant say it. You want to hear your name. There's still a special part of that, but there are plenty of guys that have been undrafted that have made it as well. And yeah, it is a tough road, but the fact he's got a foot in the door already, he's ahead of a lot of guys because of that. Appreciate his time, especially on a busy day. We'll break, come back. Got a bunch of emails coming in on a previous topic we were talking about on conference realignment. Always brings out some good stuff there. We'll do that. As Hot Mike rolls on a Thursday morning. We're back right after this. All right, fun stuff there with Grant Nelson. Our second half of our Powerhouse Thursday lineup coming up. Bison quarterback, now Atlanta Falcon quarterback, Easton Stick in studio. That's coming up. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of what's been a power-packed Thursday show. Corey Provis again tomorrow. Remember, 9:30 as Twins maybe could put a winning streak together as they play the Tigers. Look who we got back in studio. It's become a summer tradition to have Easton Stick join us here, all-time wins leader in FCS history. I'm so glad I can still say that because the record was potentially up for grabs this past fall. And now I can say Atlanta Falcons quarterback. How's that sound? That's after 6 years in L.A.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is. A new chapter, and you know how that stuff goes. Sometimes you need a change, and it can be invigorating, and learning a new building, a new system, new part of the country, all that stuff is really exciting.
I'll get to that in a bit. You're back, obviously. You had your third annual camp, which I was talking with you yesterday, asking if you thought and how excited you were to do the first one. Now you're 3 years in. If you thought it would even go this long, and you got 60 guys that were here yesterday.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was something we hoped we could do. We wanted to make it something that could be kind of a summer staple for the community and for us. And so you just don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things right now. There's basketball camp, baseball camp. People are traveling all over the place. So for them to spend a day with us means a lot. And hopefully it's something we can keep going for a while.
And you had kids that have been here for all 3 years,
Yeah.
which is pretty neat too, that they've made this a summer staple of theirs.
Exactly. Yeah, guys that have been 3 straight years and are telling you we'll see you next year. And that's the cool part of it, is they enjoy it enough to come back and make it a priority. And there are ways I think we keep getting better. And, we added receivers to it this year. And I think that benefits those kids and lets them bring a friend that's maybe a little bit more comfortable, and then stuff you can work on together, take back to your school. So hopefully it's something we keep rolling.
Well, as a QB, as you know better than anybody, you'd love to have somebody I know who I can throw to that can catch, right?
No doubt. We had Darius up here helping with those guys. So he was that guy for me, him and RJ. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, describe that. You had Darius Shepard back, obviously another all-time Bison great, of how all that came together to get him back in Fargo as well.
Yeah, it was just the right time for him. Obviously, he's not playing anymore, and so a little bit more freedom with the schedule that way. It's something he had wanted to do, we wanted to do together, and so it just kind of worked with the schedule. And shoot, he's someone that, every time I'm around him, I learn something from him. He's just one of those people, so I think great for the kids to be around him.
And I know we talked, I think last year, the fact that he got a chance to be back. You got to be teammates again with the Chargers. That had to be surreal.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and I wish it would have lasted a little bit longer. It's just, he's one of, like I said, just one of those guys that the more you can be around, the better off you are. And so selfishly, you're like, man, let me get as much time as I can.
There are players, Easton, I feel like we get further away. Like, I don't know, like me covering the team, Bison fans that, they're good. You don't really appreciate how good they were until maybe 5-10 years. Now, you guys are unfortunately getting to that age where how fast you are playing. But Darius Shepard was an unbelievable football player. I don't think people fully appreciate. Maybe now they do, that it's almost 10 years gone.
Yeah, hopefully. He got to the point where it really was uncoverable that last season.
Oh.
If we're being honest, like, it was third down, we were throwing him the ball. We're trying on first and second down too, but third down, it was going to him.
Yep. And he was going to make a play.
Yeah.
And
everybody knew
down,
it.
probably.
Like, people aren't stupid. Everybody knew it. And
Number 20's getting the ball.
It's
right?
coming to him. So, he was at an elite level that year.
Well, it's funny because I asked him yesterday during the media availability. I'm like, hey, do you remember, and I know I've asked you about it, like a wiry kid from Tampa that came on campus thinking, how is this guy going to be any good, being Christian Watson? And I know you and I talked about it when he was, I think, a redshirt freshman that he was getting on the field. Like, there's another guy that came through and ended up being pretty darn good, too.
No doubt. And there's probably one right now that we're going to be saying the same thing, in a year or so. We've had, there's so many good players now that have come through. It's like.
We had James Price on yesterday signing with the Saints. So now we're up to 20 guys.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, very
signed
cool.
with the Saints. So we're at 20.
Yeah.
20 guys in the NFL.
That's awesome.
Tell me what you think about that now.
It's awesome. It's almost like every week you run into somebody, which is the coolest thing. It really is. And 20 guys. How many FBS schools can say?
Not many.
Outside of the top, 15 programs or whatever it is. Like, it's special.
When you can tell a story as well on Saturdays during the season of what that's like, of guys fighting to get the TV on to watch their alma mater play, how real is that actually goes on in locker rooms?
Oh, yeah. There's TVs. There's more dang TVs in these facilities than there is anything else. It's ridiculous.
And you got to watch film, man, right? That's what it's there for.
Yeah, so everybody's, as soon as there's a walkthrough typically Saturday morning before the game, and so you're running into the locker room, after, and guys are watching their teams and bragging. You can't bet, of course, so there's none of that. But, bragging rights, and, absolutely. People definitely respect our program, and Atlanta's got a bunch of FCS guys. There's a handful with the Chargers, and so even – talking to those guys and, even if we didn't play them, it's like, almost like a thank goodness we didn't play you, one of those things. So it's cool. There's great respect for the program.
All right, so give us the lowdown. The season ends. You're a free agent. You signed a 1-year deal last year with the Chargers. What do you and your agent talk about once the season ends about what 2025 was going to hold for you?
Yeah, really this year we kind of left it for a while and then didn't touch it really until the combine is really when all that
You got
stuff
married,
happens.
by the way. That's
Yeah.
the big reason. So congratulations
thank
on
you.
that. That's
Thank
fantastic.
You. So there are other things going on this offseason, which honestly was probably the best thing that could have happened for a lot of reasons, but it got my mind away from football, and I think I needed that after this offseason. I went from, 2 seasons ago, from finally getting a chance to play, feeling good about it in some regards, and then I had the surgery, and so it really went from playing to recovery immediately. I never got a break, and so I think I didn't realize I needed it, but I really did, and I think I, at some point in the fall felt like that, okay, I need to step away and take a breath, and so I'm glad I got that. And then, it's really around the scouting combine where that stuff heats up. All the agents are,
are together
with the teams. And so all the gossip begins. It's really what it is. As the more you're in it at those early stages, it's just people talking and trying to get information. And so you get early information. You don't really know what it means. A list of teams, it's like, everybody likes you or no one likes you, so it's just kind of weird. But then I think once free agency started, you see where the first couple guys go. Obviously, with the starters, that's the big one.
Yep.
Justin Fields signs the big contract. It was a big deal with where's Kirk going to go? Is he going to go? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. So all those happen.
Daniel Jones, those kind of go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The big contracts happen.
Darnold was. Yep.
Yeah. And then it starts falling in. It's like, okay, Jacoby Brissett. Some of these like really veteran players that are going to sign backup deals, and it just kind of starts slotting from there, and you see where you fall. So I'm glad I ended up in Atlanta, had a relationship or two there that I was excited to connect with, and so we'll see how it goes, but definitely excited to be there.
So your agent says Atlanta, and how much research are you doing, knowing full, okay, I know Michael Penix is there, I know Kirk Cousins is there. Is that, okay, well, I know there's 2 guys already ahead of me. Is like, what kind of research do you do about when he says Atlanta's really interested?
Oh, a ton of it. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you try to, there's a lot of factors, right? But like trying to find the best fit. And for me, it's like, okay, if you get the opportunity to play, is this a situation that you can go in and play well? Because you know how it goes. If you don't play well, you're out of it.
Yep.
It's just the way it goes. And so, is this a situation where I think schematically it fits me? There's players around you that can elevate you, and you're in a position to play well and win games. That's what matters. And so, can we win? Is this something you want to be a part of? That's where it starts. And then, you look at the depth chart and some of those things, and obviously there was a lot of unknown with all that's been reported ad nauseum, and so you don't really know what's going to happen. But excited to work with Mike and learn from Kirk. And I think my experience watching Justin, grow and become from a rookie to now being one of the top players at the position, hopefully I can share some of those experiences and benefit Mike.
Zach Robinson's the OC. What's the relationship that you have with him?
Yeah, so I met Zach when I was coming out for the draft. He was going to be, or was, my quarterback coach for about a month. And then Sean McVay called, and that was a little bit more enticing. So he was with the Rams for 5 seasons, and then Atlanta hired him a year ago when Raheem got the job in Atlanta, and they were awesome on offense last year.
They're pretty darn good.
Yeah, they did some really good things, and that system obviously is great. It feels like every year there's an assistant or two from that tree that gets a job.
Getting somewhere.
Exactly. So he's really sharp. But it's fun. We stayed in contact.
Okay, I was going to ask, did you stay in touch?
Yeah,
okay.
With him being in L.A., same city, but like 3 hours apart. We just stayed in contact. And
did you guys have locker rooms in the same state in the stadium though as well?
But
you're on the opposite.
You have your own.
Okay,
so it was always nice. They were on the opposite sideline that we were for home games, and so even if you were the visiting team, you still were in your home stuff. Yeah.
So you obviously had that connection. What did he tell you about opportunity or potential opportunity in Atlanta?
Yeah. Really, they're just potential opportunity. With some of the stuff they structure the preseason, I think I'll have a chance to play a bunch, which, isn't everything, but is important.
It's everything. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
getting game reps.
Game reps. And so that'll be big. And then I just think to be a part of that offense, 7 seasons, this is my 6th coordinator. And so I've been a part of a lot of them, but never this system. And so I'm excited to learn this one with all the cool stuff they do in the run game and the play action pass off of it, keepers, some of the pure progression stuff that they do. It's exciting.
Now, did you have a chance going through OTAs and minicamp to work with a lot of the guys who are going to be out there, or not so much?
Yeah, no, and that was great. The attendance was really good this spring, and it's spring. You're not in pads and some of that stuff. But for me, just trying to get onboarded, they're year 2 in the system. I'm trying to catch up, and so they were a little bit ahead. And for me, it was good to okay, I really got to work at this to pick it up and to get to where they are. So that went really well, and got a ton of reps, and so feeling good.
They have some wide receivers who can make plays. Darnell Mooney, obviously. Drake London. I'm trying to think if there's another stud. What are those? I mean, throwing to those guys, just go up and get it? Is that kind of the deal?
Yeah, Drake, super impressive. And you knew he was good. Obviously, he was a top pick, and his career's been great.
Yeah.
But I think I came away even more impressed being around him for a little bit. Mooney, he's such a smooth mover. So between those two, Ray McLeod.
Yeah, that's right.
He's had a great career. There's depth at that position. The offensive line is fantastic, and some of the stuff they do in the run game is really impressive. And then the 2 runners,
Bijan's really, really
unbelievable.
good.
And I think Tyler,
Algier's really good.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher as a rookie before Bijan got there. So that room is really good too.
So I'm looking here for the schedule. You have Tampa to start, so you get to see there's another Bison there, and a couple with Josh Hayes and Cody Malker there. And then the Falcons come up here to U.S. Bank Stadium to play the Vikings. So I know there's going to be a bunch of fans that are going to make the trip to. That'll be fun to get back up there.
Ben Elfson's on that staff, so I get to see him. And that's awesome. I've only been there once before. We played there 2 years ago, so that'll be exciting. It's a great place to play. The stadium's unbelievable, and I don't know, that defense. Not really looking forward to that, but the rest of it will be great.
And part of the Falcons schedule is a trip overseas to Germany.
Yeah,
you get to go over there. So I know that'll be because you told me you went to Mexico.
Yeah, we
earlier
played in Mexico
Chargers.
City in 2019.
Okay,
that was an experience.
I bet.
Really cool. And then I haven't been since for an overseas game, so that'll be exciting. Never been to Germany. So
now that you're an old hat veteran, you've hit all 32 stadiums now.
Yeah, we've hit them all.
Wow.
Plus a couple with the Mexico game, and then got to play in the old Coliseum the last year in Oakland.
What was that like? I've heard everyone's talking to me about baseball. You were there for football.
Yeah.
What was a football experience like?
It was, awesome. Yeah. So cool. Raiders fans as advertised as the bus is coming through tailgating, and it was a Thursday night game.
Oh yeah.
So at night, it was a really, really cool experience. Your locker room is in the clubhouse, and then you come out from behind home plate, to run onto the field. So it was pretty sweet.
You're the baseball guy. You probably had some appreciation of that,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, really cool.
That's fantastic. Just a couple of minutes left here with Easton before we gotta let him go. The fact, and we talked about this when Randy Hedberg announced he's going to retire, the impact that he had on you. You're now heading your 7th year in the NFL. Is it easy to say or safe to say without him this isn't happening?
Yeah, a huge part of it. Him, the program, we joke all the time. It's like with NIL and the transfer portal and all that stuff that's going on now, there's all those conversations. You're like, well, what if you were somewhere else? And it's like, well, I don't think I really in my heart don't believe I'd still be playing. And he's a huge part of that. And so, look at his track record. He went 4 for 4 up here. It's pretty dang good, I'd say.
When we talk about bragging with your teammates, there's one to go when the season gets going in training camp. Hey, last 4 guys at NDSU got drafted in the NFL.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Exactly.
Right?
And it wasn't like it was 4 years, like you brought 4 guys in that were established that transferred. It's been over a decade. He was there for 11 years, so it's impressive.
That alone, to have that with Cam now getting drafted into Vegas, going back in your old division to the AFC West, you shake your head at it that this is when I remember how you were there, how big a deal when Carson got drafted. This was a thing. And then you got picked. And then Trey Lance got picked. And now this has happened. I'm living it. You were in it. I just kind of shake my head that this has happened over the last decade plus.
Yeah, it's all you can do, right? And there were points in all of our careers probably, well, maybe not Trey's. His was quick and unbelievable. But the rest of us, there were probably points in our career where you said, I don't know if it's going to happen, And so for that Coach Hedberg to, just find a way to help us improve and get to where we needed to have the opportunity, this place it's different.
I got an email to ask Easton. Well, the Bison are playing in Charleston, South Carolina. The Falcons are done. You're going to make a road trip up from Atlanta to go see the Bison?
There we go. I didn't know they were down there. Who's in?
The Citadel. The Bison open this year with the Citadel in Charleston. So I'm not sure. I don't have Google Maps off the top of my head from Atlanta.
I'm not real familiar.
Atlanta to Charleston, because you're getting familiar with it yourself.
I'm still learning the Southeast a little bit, so we'll have to see. But I know the championship game's in Nashville. I know that's close, so that would be really cool.
The fact now you're totally changed. Like, you've been on Pacific Coast time, all of it. You're the last 6 years. Now East Coast. How difficult is that just to adjust to?
Well, I'll tell you, the West Coast time zone, Pacific Coast time zone for watching sports,
right?
Absolutely the best. The games start at 10 a.m., so you wake up, you have coffee, football's on.
That's wild.
And the Sunday night or Monday night game is done by 8:30, 9:30. So you're in bed. It's fantastic.
All set.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
ain't the case anymore now.
Other
man.
than that, I don't know. But I enjoyed my time out there, and but excited for a new spot.
There's going to be another Omaha guy quarterback in the Bison this year. How you feel about that?
Yeah, really excited. He's waited his turn, and there's been examples of this previous with guys that have stuck around, and I know they would tell you that it was 100% the right decision, and hopefully he feels that way. And I'm just excited for him to finally have the opportunity to show people that everyone knows what he's capable of. They just haven't had a chance to see it yet, and I know he's excited about it, and for him just to go out there and play, it's exciting for him.
When was the first time you heard Cole Payton's name? How long ago was this?
I remember Coach Heber giving me a call, like during COVID, whenever that was. So the recruiting process, and hey, there's a kid at West Side, and I rolled my eyes a little bit.
That's a rival school for you.
Big rival. But had a chance to watch him play a little bit, and then his senior year in Omaha was, one for the books. And so watched him play a few times, and I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him, and so as a person, he's so impressive. And I'm really looking forward to watching him sit. Like I said, he waited his turn, and that's hard to do. Yeah. It's really, really hard to do. So it'll be fun.
I guess another Omaha guy, Tyler Rice, is now coaching at South Dakota State. You know that? He's he's with a Jackrabbit now.
I knew Logan McCormick was there.
So
well, hold on.
There's a couple. There's a couple of your former teammates.
One is all right. Two. Hold on. Yeah, I knew Tyler was coaching, but I did not.
He got hired down at NDSU now. So so there's a couple now.
All right.
Yeah. Just adds a little spice now more to that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It'll be fun. And I know Coach Jackson a little bit. He's an Omaha
guy as well.
Recruited me, and so we've got some mutual friends back home, and we've stayed in contact. So that makes it fun.
I always appreciate the fact you make time to come back and do this. Thanks so much. Congratulations, on marriage at another great camp. Have a great year, bud.
Yeah,
we'll do this during the season, all right?
I really like that. Yeah.
Easton Stick joining us here, Atlanta Falcons quarterback, former Bison Gray, all-time wins leader in FCS history, joining us here in studio. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Thursday. Hot Mike wraps right after this. All right, wrapping things up. Boy, this has been a fun show. Awesome stuff there the last hour. Grant Nelson, Easton Stick here. If you missed any of that, we'll podcast it as we always do. You can watch full replay coming up later today on WDAY+. Tomorrow, Corey Provis will join us. Twins getting set for a weekend set with the Tigers and a Sunday night baseball appearance. I know he can't be thrilled about that because he's taking a game away, but when ESPN announced the Twins were actually doing pretty well, and now, but Detroit is cruising. But we'll talk with Corey about that and a couple other fun guests coming up tomorrow to wrap up the week, and we'll see what happens with Grant Nelson coming up tonight. And if there's any other teams that decide that the Summer League doesn't want to be interested in, we can chat about that as well on the show coming up tomorrow. With that said, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. What to Watch brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Appreciate that. All right, we got some matinee baseball today. Twins taking on the Mariners at 12 on Twins.tv as they go for a split of their 4-game set with Simeon Woods Richardson pitching today. That's coming up here in just about an hour from Target Field. Second round of the NBA draft. Don't ask me why it's over 2 days. It's because they want to fill programming. 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN. We'll see the Wolves have the 31st pick. We'll see what happens with Grant Nelson. We'll break that all down on the show tomorrow. That's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock ESPN. And yes, we have Canadian football is back. Edmonton, the Elks and the Blue Bombers, 7:30 tonight on CBS Sports Network for that. I guarantee we'll have a highlight from the CFL on tomorrow's show. Our thanks to Sam Goetzinger, to Grant Nelson, and Easton Stick. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Happy birthday to my old man. Hope he has a great day. I hope everybody has a great day as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.